Hello, everyone, and welcome to Jay's Dark Files. This is my channel that I'm now going to dedicate to the paranormal and supernatural, but mainly looking into the UFO alien phenomena. We'll even discuss some conspiracies, whatever's going on in the world. But for episode 1 here, I think we're going to talk about the Allagash Abductions from 1976. I'm going to read you guys an excerpt from a book. So just lay back, close your eyes, relax. I know that's what I like to do at night. This is the Allagash Abductions from 1976. The Allagash Wilderness Waterway is an area in Maine, a state in the New England region of the United States of America. It is a large, beautiful territory of lakes, ponds, rivers, and streams, going through the middle of northern Maine's thick forests. It was in this area that 4 men's quiet fishing trip turned into a mind-boggling paranormal event. An event which would haunt their dreams and distorted memories in the years which followed. In late August of '76, twin brothers Jack and Jim Weiner, together with their friends Charlie Foltz and Chuck Rack, former art students who had met each other at the Massachusetts College of Art. They started their vacation on August 20th and spent the next several days hiking and canoeing along the waterway, enjoying each other's company and peaceful landscape which surrounded them. On the evening of August 26th, they reached an area known as Eagle Lake and proceeded to set up camp. They got out their fishing rods and tried their luck by the bank, but nothing bit. They agreed to relocate to the middle of the lake for some night fishing, as it was quickly getting dark. Before heading out onto the water, they made a large bonfire in order to highlight their campsite so that they could easily find their way back. A short while after they had settled the canoe and began fishing, Chuck felt as though he was being intently watched. He turned around and observed a massive, multicolored spear of light emerging above the southeastern tree line, approximately 200 yards away from the canoe. The object was completely soundless while moving. Parts of it would change color in a plasmatic motion as it moved. First red to green, then from green to a light yellow. According to the men's estimations, it was about 80 feet in diameter. After being stunned for a second, Chuck yelled for the others to turn around. Startled but intrigued, Charlie took out his flashlight and used it to signal an SOS in the direction of the mysterious object. I have done the same thing up in the sky with a laser, and I've had actual results from it. This spear instantly changed direction and started moving slowly towards the 4 waterborne men as it approached the UFO. As it approached, the UFO started emitting a hollow beam of light. As the beam hit the water surface near them, the men panicked and began paddling frantically to get away. While adrenaline pumped through their veins, they focused all their attention on their bonfire in the distance, but it was too late. The beam of light fully enveloped the 4 friends and their canoe. The next thing they knew, they were all standing by the campsite at the shore, looking at the illuminated object now rising into the sky about 50 to 70 yards away from them. The spear then shot into the far distance in the blink of an eye, still completely silent. The men simply stood there for a while, watching the night sky, unable to speak. The intense panic which they had felt in their previously remembered moments was now gone. Confused, they wondered how they blacked out due to the effects of the adrenaline rush and carried themselves to the shore. Their minds were also inexplicably in a numb, dreamy state, as if they had just woken up from a deep level of anesthesia. As they were starting to regain their normal senses, they noticed that the large bonfire, which was burning brightly just minutes ago, was now nothing more than hot ashes and red coal. They had placed large logs in the fire so that it would burn for several hours. Yet, to their knowledge, they had been away for no more than 20 minutes. This would remain a mystery for the four men as they ended their vacation and returned home to their newly formed careers. Eventually, however, the UFO encounter would be shown to affect them on a subconscious level. What at first seemed to merely have been a close-up sighting would increasingly be revealed as something much more bizarre. Several years after the extraordinary event, Jim received a head injury which resulted in temporal lobe epilepsy, a neurological condition which often includes sensory changes and disturbances of memory. During a checkup, his doctor asked him if he had any noteworthy experiences which may have been related to his condition. Jim proceeded to tell the doctors about him and his friend's close encounter with the mysterious glowing spear and the feeling of missing time, as well as the continued intense nightmares which had haunted everyone in the group ever since. His brother Jack was the first to have these vivid dreams. During these nightmares, they saw strange beings with large heads and long necks. The descriptions of the entities' faces are reminiscent of the classic gray alien. They had very large, lidless eyes which had a slight glow to them, and which seemed to be covered by a thin metallic surface. Their hands were said to be insect-like, with only 4 fingers on each. They had very small nostrils and simple slits for mouths. Jack saw flashes of the beings examining his arm while his friends were seated nearby, seemingly paralyzed. The doctors suspected that Jim and his group might have been involved in an alien abduction and advised him to contact a UFO researcher. In 1988, Jim went to a UFO conference hosted by the author and researcher Raymond Fowler. After the conference, Jim met with Fowler and told him everything about the incident. Fowler was highly intrigued, noting that a multiple witness case like this was quite rare, and decided to help Jim. In January of '89, he started a formal investigation together with MUFON investigator and solar physicist David Webb, and MUFON consultant and professional hypnotist Anthony Constantino. Together, they studied the men and their accounts during a period of 2 years. It started with several detailed psychiatric tests and examinations, which resulted in all of the men being deemed mentally stable. In addition, all of them took lie detector tests, which they all passed. Finally, they underwent a series of aggressive hypnosis sessions conducted by Constantino. During these sessions, which Constantino described as the most intense experience I've had as a hypnotist, a great deal of new information came to light. During the hypnosis, all of the witnesses revealed that they had been transferred into the illuminated sphere by the hollow beam of light. Once on board, the strange creatures from their dreams had them under some sort of mind control, which rendered them in a kind of tranquilized state. All of them were made to undress before they were examined one by one on a silvery table. The beings then used several handheld and machine-like instruments to analyze them. During the examination, they apparently took samples of different bodily fluids such as blood, urine, and sperm, as well as skin scrapings. After the test concluded, the men were made to put on their clothes again, before lining up near a round portal in another section of the UFO. They were then levitated back onto the canoe below and accurately placed in each of the positions which they were sitting in prior to the abduction. When the hypnosis sessions were concluded, it was discovered that all of the 4 men's recollections of the event were consistent with each other. In 1993, Dr. Raymond Fowler stated, "During the course of the investigation, we conducted witness background checks, examined medical records and diaries, cross-checked witness testimony, coordinated witness psychological profile tests, correlated witness accounts with other reports, and conducted 15 hypnosis sessions over a period of 14 months. The investigation concluded that the moral character of the witnesses, the graphic reliving of their experiences under hypnosis, and the extraordinary correlations between their experience and that of others provided overwhelming evidence that their experiences were objective in nature. Such evidence, combined with typical physical effects on the witnesses' bodies, prompted me to